Coming up on today's episode, I want to go over a couple of topics stemming from the NFL's owner meeting. We have Andrew Berry talking about trading up to the first overall pick or possibly trading back. Kevin Stefanski was asked about Kenny Pickett, and that always gets the fan base going. And finally, more eyeballs on Abdul Carter to the Browns at number 2. So, welcome on into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. We've got a lot to discuss today, as you can see. But really quick, help us reach our goal of 44,000 subscribers by the time the NFL draft gets here, which, believe it or not, is 24 days away. I put that in Google, and I was shocked to see how quickly it was around the corner. So help us get to 44,000 subscribers. We are just under 1,000 away. Now, let's circle back to what Barry had to say about the possibility of the Browns trading up to number 1. He put it unlikely. Now, it's always important to remember, whenever we see comments like this, you got to think about it from multiple angles. One angle is just honesty. He says it's unlikely. It's unlikely. Another angle is, would Barry want the Titans to know the Browns want to trade up? Probably not. Tennessee knows you want their pick. Oh, the price just went up. Whereas if you play it cool and you're like, yeah, I probably don't think we're going to trade up. And if Tennessee really wants to make a deal happen, now the pressure's on the Titans to make an offer the Browns are willing to accept, and it's probably a lower asking price than if they knew they had a product, supply and demand, that someone else really wanted. My prediction is the Titans are going to stay put at number 1. It's definitely a little fishy that the Browns did a workout with Cam Ward. Go back the last couple of drafts, no one did a private workout with Caleb Williams, like outside of Chicago. Same goes for Bryce Young. So to me, this just screams the Titans like Cam Ward, but they want to see if someone loves Cam Ward. They want to see if there's a team out there that falls in love with him and gives up a king's ransom, which at that point Tennessee would probably take. Unlikely, in my opinion, that happens, though. Now, as for the possibility of trading back from number 2, Barry said, quote, "We're pretty much open to anything that can be advantageous to us." So, a very Andrew Berry, esque response. He's not going to give anything definitive, but I think he wants people to know our phones are working. Give us a call if you feel that you want the number 2 pick so badly you're willing to give up multiple first, second, or third round draft picks. If I look at the top 8 teams selecting in this year's draft, which I don't see the Browns falling from 2 past the Carolina Panthers at 8, which I don't even see them trading up to 2. I really only see a couple of candidates to jump up. The Giants possibly. Same thing happened with the Bears when they selected Mitch Trubisky. They went from 3 to 2, so that's one possibility. Going back, though, maybe the Patriots at number 4 if they really want Travis Hunter and they're afraid that the Giants are going to take him, but I don't see New England, honestly, moving up to 2. Jags, what if the Jags really want Abdul Carter? I'm just trying to give you guys possibilities. I don't see New England or Jacksonville jumping up. Raiders or Jets, bigger possibility of that happening because if either one of them falls in love with Shedeur Sanders and they are concerned he won't get past the Giants at 3, they may have to go to number 2. But no, I just don't see an obvious trade-up candidate here. So I don't believe we're going to see any calls for the number 2 overall draft pick. I say this for a few reasons. One, just going off of this year's draft class, it's not an overload of talent, right? It's not one of the better pure classes we have seen. So in that regard, I doubt there are teams willing to give up what the Browns would want to move back from 2. Second reason, history says it's not common. I went back from present day to 2010, and I wanted to see, hey, what teams have ever traded up to the top 5 to select a non-quarterback? We had one 2 years ago, Will Anderson, but every single one should be viewed as a case-by-case basis. I don't think the Texans make this move if they didn't get C.J. Stroud earlier in the draft and they didn't have multiple first-round draft picks, which right now, everyone for the first time in NFL history at this point in the calendar still has their first-round draft pick. So this one was a little bit unique, and no one fits this mold of they already have the quarterback they drafted in that draft, and they have multiple firsts to move around a little bit. Before that, you have to go a long ways back to the Bills. Remember this trade? jumping up from 9-4 to select Sammy Watkins. The Browns would end up trading out of this number 9 pick, by the way. So there was a long stretch where no one moved up top 5 to take a non-quarterback. But this was the end of a run. 2013, we had the Dolphins and the Raiders make a deal. Miami secured Deion Jordan. That was a bad trade for them. He was an all-time draft bust for the Dolphins. Then before this, we had the Browns once again being a part of a trade with 4-3. This is when they got Trent Richardson. And the Vikings got Matt Khalil, who was very good for them. So Minnesota, they definitely won this trade. And before that, Justin Blackmon in 2012, which is anyone else having a Nelson Mandela moment? Because like a Mandela effect moment where I could have sworn Justin Blackmon was the second overall draft pick. I have a vivid memory of him going number 2. But he went number 5 to Jacksonville. The Bucs took Mark Barron at number 7, the Alabama safety. So up until Will Anderson, we had gone a decade without any team moving up into the top 5 to take anyone that's not a quarterback. So let me know, would you be open to trading back? Every fan base, I think, at some point that's not picking one wants to trade back because it just sounds like you're getting such a better deal with more draft picks. When I think the cold hard truth is, in the draft, I prefer quality over quantity. It can be team dependent and how many picks you have to begin with and where you are right now. And the Browns need more picks than quality picks probably, just given that they've gone so long without a first and really even a second round draft pick. But I'm open to the idea of trading back. I don't know if I would be the one initiating calls if I were the Browns. So my official stance is open to it, but I'm not forcing it. It's not a loaded draft class where the guys you're going to get at 8 and 50 outweigh the player you get at 2. I'd rather stay put and just take the best player available and not try to get a bunch of good players. At this point, I think I'd rather get one great player given the strengths of this draft class. Switching gears onto the other segment of today's episode, there's some faith growing in Kenny Pickett to be this team's starting quarterback. I'm getting tired, and we haven't even discussed this all that much, but I'm already getting tired of Kenny Pickett discourse amongst Browns fans. So the ESPN beat reporter for the Browns, Daniel Fusi, does a great job of covering the team. He was talking to Stefanski at the NFL owners meeting, which is going on right now, and it's a great chance for, rumors and news to spill out a little bit to local media members, and talked about the team's quarterback situation. And you can see what he said here. Kenny Pickett's a guy that I believe in, that we believe in, so we'll see how it all shakes out. What was he supposed to say? Did you expect him to go up there and go, so Pickett kind of sucks. He blows chunks, and we just heard that he's a nice guy, and we thought we'd keep him around. So everyone needs to relax on Kenny Pickett. People got up in arms when Kenny Pickett at his media press conference introduction said, I view myself as a starting quarterback. I would love to hear that from a quarterback. It's the most important position in all of sports, and there's an open competition right now in Cleveland for the starting job. There should be no quarterback on that roster who does not believe he could start on this team. And he's also the only quarterback on this roster. So, no, I have no fear or concern with what Pickett said last month, or I guess earlier this month, and with what Stefanski said to the NFL media at the NFL owners meeting. I want these two people to have confidence in one another. It'd be concerning if they traded for people that they said sucks, and if that player said, I don't think I can start in this league. That's a much bigger red flag. It does not mean they're going to start, but I would like for them to believe they can start, because if they don't believe that, and if the coach doesn't think that, then get them off the team. We're wasting each other's time. Now, before we move on to the third and final topic, you probably already saw this, but the NFL released the draft hats for this year, and I like them. Every single year they receive mixed reviews. It's one of the dumbest sports debates we get into, grading NFL draft hats. But if you want to get one, I think the guitar emblem is really cool. It's one of the better ones in the league across all 32 teams. So I put the link for these hats. They have a variety of sales and things like that going on at Fanatics. But just go to chatsports.com/CLE draft. That link is down below in the comment section. Getting back to the Abdul Carter portion of the show now. So Barry said that the stress fracture, which was discovered during the NFL Combine and resulted in Carter not participating in the Combine and also not participating during his pro day, is, quote, not going to be prohibitive to a long, successful career. I'm ready to say it. Abdul Carter is a Cleveland Brown. On March 31st, I am willing to plant my flag and make my prediction. Leading up to this point, we've had a lot of rumors, a lot of different directions coming at us, but I'm going to make my prediction right now, just under a month away from the draft. With the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Abdul Carter, defensive end out of Penn State. I feel more confident right now than ever before that is going to be the pick. And the scary thing is, while I feel more confident than ever before, I don't say this with 100% absolute confidence, but it's the direction I'm leaning right now, and no one likes a Switzerland in sports. Like, have a stance and put your spine and your back next to it and stand up for it. So, Abdul Carter, welcome to Cleveland. Let me know if you believe the Browns are going to end up selecting Abdul Carter. Not what you want them to do, but gun to your head, are they going to pick Carter or not? I think they will. Now, I'm also going to toss this out there. Watch for the Browns to trade back into round 1 of the draft. Picking at 33, the first pick in round 2, it would not be difficult for them to move into the 20s or 30s of round 1. So if they want to get that quarterback with the fifth-year option, this is a very manageable move up. And I could see a lot of teams wanting to trade out of round 1 because this draft class, I think, only has 15 max first-round grades. Usually you get 20 first-round grades. So it's just, do you want to get a second-round player at the fifth-year option, or do you want to get more draft picks by trading out of round 1? I bet you're going to find a lot of teams willing to trade out of round 1 that are picking towards the end of the first round. Now, who could they be trading up for? I'm going to toss out 2 names. One, we'll start with Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's been getting a lot of attention as of late. A lot of insiders believe he will go round 1. I don't think he's a round 1 quarterback, but I'm in the business of what do I think the Browns are going to do. And I could see them trading up into round 1 for a quarterback and kind of selling the fan base on, hey, we got our number 1 guy at Abdul Carter, and we got our quarterback in round 1. Right? I think Dart is a very good candidate for this. Now, like I said, don't believe he is a round 1 player. He kind of gives me Gardner Minshew vibes. The issues I have with Dart is when pressure was on and when the lights were the brightest, how did he fare? He threw back-to-back interceptions in a must-win game for Ole Miss when they called a penalty on the first one and gave him another shot, and he's like, I'm still going to go down with a loss here and just turn it over voluntarily. So I'm not super high on Jackson Dart in round 1. You want to take a flyer on him in day 2? All right, you can probably convince me. Round 1, no. The other name, Shedeur Sanders. I think there is a greater chance he falls in the draft than what people realize. Maybe he doesn't get past the Jets at 7. I've heard that's the floor for him. But very few teams, I think, look at him as a round 1 prospect. I think he's getting round 1 buzz because of his last name, and it's just a weak quarterback draft class. I think if Shedeur was in last year's class, no one would be talking about him going round 1. If they were talking about it, it would be he might sneak into round 1, not go second overall. I could see him slipping. And man, would that heal all wounds if the Browns appease both, factions of the fan base for what people want. Abdul Carter or Shedeur Sanders. So keep an eye on a trade back into round 1 for a quarterback. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. Let's pick a card to get you guys on your way. Mr. Bartkus, which card do you want to go with?
Let's go with King of Clubs.
I'm going to go with 7 of Diamonds. No. Three of hearts. Three of hearts. By the way, I got this comment a little while ago. I do this at the end of each episode. It's been 3 off seasons now because I know the off season can get boring and it's just a fun way to keep things light. And I more or less just copied it from Part of My Take, who ends their episodes with pick a random number 1 through 100. And I was like, well, I don't want to be a complete copycat, so we'll do pick a card. On PMT yesterday, I got the number right. I know. I felt pretty good. I felt big, one in the locker room. But that's the Mickey Mouse one. This is my Super Bowl, and I'm looking for the card still. All right. I'll see you guys later.